The 1964 mint mark Lincoln 1-cent coin has become one of the most talked about coins among collectors and enthusiasts around the world. Imagine holding in your hand a small copper penny from over half a century ago, now worth an astonishing $8 million. This simple-looking coin, minted in Denver, has a story that combines American history, minting technology, collector passion, and a bit of mystery that makes it one of the most valuable Lincoln cents ever discovered. To understand why the 1964 Lincoln penny is so valuable today, we need to travel back to the 1960s. America was changing rapidly. The nation had just lost President John F. Kennedy in 1963, and the U.S. Mint was under pressure to produce billions of coins to meet the growing economy. In 1964, both the Denver Mint and Philadelphia Mint struck hundreds of millions of Lincoln cents, but little did anyone know that among those billions of coins, a few rare varieties and errors would one day turn into treasures worth millions of dollars. The Lincoln 1-cent coin, first introduced in 1909, was designed by Victor David Brenner to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Over the decades, it became one of the most recognized coins in U.S. history. By 1964, the design was well established, with the image of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. But what makes the 1964 penny so unique and valuable is not just its design, it's the small differences and rare minting errors that set it apart from the rest. The 1964 Lincoln penny was made primarily of 95% copper and 5% zinc. During this period, the Denver Mint was producing coins in massive quantities. However, a few of these coins were struck using slightly different dies, and a handful of them were mistakenly produced with unique variations that were never meant to enter circulation. Collectors have spent years identifying these rare varieties: double dies, off-center strikes, die cracks, repunched mint marks, and even transitional errors that occurred as the mint prepared for the metal composition change that would come in later years. One of the most sought-after varieties of the 1964 penny is the double die obverse. This happens when the coin is struck twice by the die, creating a doubling effect on the date, mint mark, or letters such as Liberty and In God We Trust. These doubling effects can be visible to the naked eye and are extremely rare. The more pronounced the doubling, the higher the coin's value. Another rare variety includes repunched mint marks, where the D mint mark appears twice because of a misalignment during production. There are also examples of 1964 pennies that were struck on planchets meant for other denominations, such as a dime or nickel. These minting errors are incredibly rare because they happen only when the wrong metal blank is fed into the press. A 1964 penny struck on a silver dime planchet, for example, would have a silvery color, weigh less than a normal penny, and immediately attract the attention of expert collectors. So how does a small copper penny reach the unbelievable value of $8 million? The answer lies in its rarity, condition, and the story behind it. Coins graded as mint state, or proof, by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC often fetch huge amounts because of their perfect condition and unique characteristics. A 1964 penny with no signs of wear, a strong strike, and a rare error such as a double die or transitional planchet could easily reach into the millions, especially if it is the only known example of its kind. Another factor that drives up the value of this coin is its historical significance. The 1960s marked a transition in U.S. coinage, as the mint prepared to change the composition of coins in response to the rising cost of silver and copper. The 1964 penny stands as a symbol of that era, an everyday object that now represents a piece of American history frozen in metal. Collectors around the world have been fascinated by this coin for decades. Many stories circulate of people finding rare pennies in their pocket change, coin rolls, or old jars hidden away for years. There are tales of individuals discovering these rare 1964 pennies in mint condition, tucked away unknowingly in drawers or boxes, only to find out later that they were holding a fortune. Experts have studied the die varieties of the 1964 penny in great detail, and each new discovery adds to the mystery. Some coins show slight differences in the lettering on the reverse side of the coin, especially around the words United States of America and E pluribus unum. Small variations in the spacing, size, or thickness of letters can signal a different die variety, which may be extremely rare. The value of $8 million is not just based on its rarity but also the coin's condition, demand among collectors, and its historical appeal. Only a handful of these coins in pristine, uncirculated condition with unique minting features are known to exist, making them the crown jewels of any collection. When such a coin goes up for auction, the bidding can be fierce, with private collectors and museums competing to own a piece of history. The most remarkable aspect of the 1964 D penny is that it can still be found by chance. It's not impossible that one might appear in someone's old coin jar or inherited collection. This possibility keeps the excitement alive among coin hunters and collectors who continue to search through rolls of pennies from the bank, flea markets, and estate sales, hoping to uncover this hidden gem. If you want to know whether you might have one of these valuable 1964 D pennies, there are a few key details to check. Start by looking closely at the date and mint mark under magnification. Examine the numbers in 1964 and the D mint mark for signs of doubling or distortion. Check the word liberty and the phrase "In God we trust" for any doubling effects or unusual thickness. Flip the coin over and study the Lincoln Memorial for crispness, details, and any signs of die cracks or off-center strikes. Weighing the coin on a precise scale can also help identify if it was struck on the wrong planchet. Collectors value coins that have original luster, sharp details, and no signs of cleaning or damage. Cleaning a coin, even gently, can reduce its value significantly because it alters the original surface. Experts recommend storing valuable coins in protective holders and keeping them away from moisture or direct sunlight to preserve their condition. Over the years, the 1964 D penny has become a symbol of how small details can lead to big discoveries. A coin that originally cost just 1 cent now holds a value greater than a luxury car or even a mansion. It serves as a reminder that treasures can still be found in the most unexpected places. The coin collecting community continues to grow, with new collectors entering the hobby every day, inspired by stories like this. The internet and social media have made it easier than ever for collectors to share information, compare coins, and trade discoveries. Auctions for rare coins like the 1964 D penny attract international attention, often reaching headlines as the prices soar higher and higher. For those who are passionate about coins, the thrill of the hunt is what drives them. Every coin tells a story, and the 1964 D penny tells one of the most remarkable stories in American numismatics. It's the story of precision, error, history, and luck all combined into a small piece of copper that has survived decades. Imagine the journey of one of these rare pennies, from the Denver Mint in 1964, through the hands of thousands, maybe hidden away in a drawer, passed down in a family collection, and eventually discovered and identified by a collector who realizes its true worth. The moment that discovery happens is life-changing. If you happen to find a 1964 D penny, take the time to have it professionally appraised before making any decisions. Many coins that look ordinary can surprise even experts. There are professional grading companies that can authenticate and grade your coin, giving it a certified market value. Having your coin officially graded increases its credibility and makes it easier to sell or insure. Coin shows, online auctions, and private sales are all great places to learn more about valuable coins. Watching auctions where a 1964 D penny is being sold is an exciting experience. Seeing bids jump by thousands of dollars in seconds shows how powerful the demand is for these rare pieces. The story of the 1964 D mint mark Lincoln 1-cent coin is not just about money, it's about discovery, passion, and history. It connects people across generations and reminds us that even the smallest things can hold incredible value. Every coin you find could be a piece of the past waiting to be rediscovered. The $8,001,964 D penny stands as a shining example of how ordinary objects can become extraordinary treasures. Whether you're a beginner or an experienced collector, this coin represents the ultimate dream. A small copper coin that changed lives and continues to inspire millions to keep searching. The 1987 D Mint Mark Jefferson nickel is one of those fascinating coins that has captured the attention of coin collectors and treasure hunters all over the world. At first glance, it looks just like an ordinary 5-cent coin, something that might easily pass through your hands without a second thought. But for those who know its story, the 1987 D Jefferson nickel can be worth an absolutely stunning fortune, an estimated $24 million in today's rare coin market. This incredible value is not just due to its age or its design, but also to its rarity, unique errors, and historical context. So, let's dive deep into the history, features, and reasons behind the immense worth of this extraordinary coin, and how you can check if you have one in your pocket change that could change your life forever. The Jefferson nickel was first introduced in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel that had been in circulation since 1913. The design was created by sculptor Felix Schlag, who captured the likeness of America's third president, Thomas Jefferson, on the obverse side of the coin, along with his home, Monticello, on the reverse. Over the years, the design has seen a few updates and variations, but the core image of Jefferson and his stately home remains iconic. By 1987, the United States Mint was producing millions of these coins every year, and the Denver Mint, indicated by the small D Mint mark, was one of the key facilities responsible for striking them. But among the millions of Jefferson nickels made that year, a very small number have unique traits and striking errors that make them exceptionally valuable. To understand why the 1987 D Jefferson nickel could be worth up to $24 million, it's essential to explore what makes a coin valuable in the first place. Rarity is the biggest factor. When something meant to be common turns out to be incredibly scarce, collectors go wild for it. The next factor is condition. A coin that has never been circulated, meaning it has retained its original mint luster, is far more desirable than one that's worn and scratched from years of use. But perhaps the most exciting aspect of all is minting errors. When something goes wrong during production, such as a double die strike, an off-center strike, or the use of the wrong planchet, the resulting error can transform a simple 5-cent coin into a priceless treasure. In the case of the 1987 D Jefferson nickel, there are a few very specific features that collectors are hunting for. Some of these nickels were struck on planchets meant for other denominations, such as dimes, resulting in coins that are slightly smaller or thinner than normal. Others have misaligned dies, creating a ghostly double image of Jefferson's profile or the Monticello building. There are also examples of missing mint marks, repunched mint marks, and even full-step Monticello varieties, where the steps on Jefferson's home are sharply defined and perfectly struck, a feature that serious collectors pay top dollar for. One of the most incredible stories about the 1987 D nickel involves a discovery made by a collector at a small coin show. He had purchased a handful of ordinary-looking nickels from a bulk dealer, only to later realize one of them had a distinctive double die reverse. Upon sending it to a professional grading service, it was authenticated and given a top-tier mint state grade. When it went to auction, it sold for an astounding amount, setting a record for Jefferson nickels at the time. Since then, the legend of the 1987 D nickel has only grown, with stories of similar finds and rumors of rare variations still being discovered in circulation today. Now, let's talk about the design in more detail, because understanding the coin's physical characteristics can help you identify if you have something special. The obverse features a left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson, with the word Liberty inscribed in script next to the date, 1987. Just below the date, you'll find the D Mint mark for Denver. On the reverse, Monticello, Jefferson's historic Virginia home, is centered elegantly, with the words Monticello, 5 cents, and United States of America beneath it. The motto E pluribus unum arches above. What sets rare versions apart is often in the details: the sharpness of the lettering, the steps on Monticello, and the overall strike quality. Coins that exhibit full steps are particularly desirable because they show a perfect strike, something that can be quite rare depending on die wear and pressure used during minting. Collectors often look for high-grade specimens graded by reputable agencies like PCGS or NGC. A mint state 67 or higher 1987 D Jefferson nickel, especially one with a rare minting error, could easily fetch astronomical sums at auction. That's where we get to the $24 million figure, a combination of extreme rarity, perfect condition, and a market driven by passionate collectors willing to pay any price for the rarest pieces in existence. It's not just about the rarity, though. The Jefferson nickel series has a strong base of dedicated collectors who appreciate the artistry and historical value of these coins. Each mint year tells a story about the economic and cultural landscape of its time. The year 1987 was significant for the U.S. Mint as it marked a period of modernization in minting technology. However, even with advanced machinery, small errors and variations slipped through, the kind that make these coins legendary today. Let's imagine for a moment that you're going through your change jar at home. You find a few nickels, and one of them catches your eye, a 1987 D. You might not think much of it at first, but upon closer inspection, you notice something strange. Maybe the rim looks slightly off-center, or Jefferson's face seems doubled. Maybe the steps on Monticello look unusually clear. Before you dismiss it, remember that tiny differences like these could be the sign of a multi-million-dollar treasure. If you ever find a coin like this, it's crucial not to clean it or handle it too much. Even the smallest scratch can drastically reduce its value. Instead, you should place it in a protective coin holder and have it evaluated by a professional numismatist or a grading service. One of the biggest mistakes people make is assuming all old coins are valuable. In reality, age alone doesn't make a coin rare. Rarity comes from specific traits like low mintage numbers, minting errors, and exceptional preservation. That's why only a handful of 1987 D nickels are known to have the unique features that make them worth millions. Most 1987 D nickels are still worth only face value, 5 cents, unless they have those extraordinary characteristics. But the potential reward makes checking every coin worth the effort. Let's also explore the historical background of the Denver Mint. Located in Colorado, the Denver Mint has been producing U.S. coins since 1906. It's known for its high-volume production, and in 1987, it struck hundreds of millions of Jefferson nickels. That's why finding an error among them is like finding a needle in a haystack. But that's also why the discovery of one is so thrilling. The few known surviving error coins from that year were either saved by sharp-eyed mint workers or stumbled upon by collectors who recognized their rarity. These coins are now housed in private collections, museums, and a few have appeared in high-end auctions fetching unbelievable prices. As coin collecting has become more popular in recent years, the demand for rare Jefferson nickels has skyrocketed. Collectors are not just buying coins for their metal value, they're buying history, craftsmanship, and scarcity. A top-grade 1987 D nickel with a rare minting error has become one of the ultimate prizes in numismatics. Online platforms, coin conventions, and private auctions have seen bidding wars over these coins, driving prices higher and higher each year. Experts believe that the value could even increase further as fewer specimens are found in the wild. Another interesting aspect of the 1987 D nickel is its connection to transitional errors. Sometimes, when the U.S. Mint changes the composition or design of a coin, transitional errors occur when leftover planchets from the previous year are accidentally used. Although no official records confirm such a mistake in 1987, some numismatists suspect that a few nickels may have been struck on planchets with slightly different metallic content, making them distinct and more valuable. This theory adds to the mystery and excitement surrounding the coin. Collectors recommend looking at a few key features to identify a possible rare specimen. First, examine the coin under good lighting or with a magnifying glass. Check the date and mint mark area closely for doubling or repunching. Inspect the rim and edges for signs of misalignment or extra metal. Then, look at Monticello's steps. If you can clearly count 5 or 6 full steps without breaks, you might have something special. The 1996 no-mint Mark Lincoln 1-cent coin might look like just another penny that you'd find in your pocket change. But what if I told you that some of these coins have been sold for up to $6 million? That's right. A single 1-cent coin from 1996 could make you a millionaire. In today's video, we're going to take a deep dive into the fascinating world of this coin, exploring its history, design, errors, value, and what makes certain examples so rare and valuable that collectors are willing to pay millions for them. So make sure you stick around to the very end because this story could change the way you look at every penny you come across. Let's start with the background of the 1996 Lincoln 1-cent coin. This coin is part of the long-running Lincoln cent series, which began in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the obverse features the iconic right-facing portrait of Abraham Lincoln, while the reverse side, in 1996, still carried the Lincoln Memorial design created by Frank Gasparo. The coin's composition was copper-plated zinc, consisting of 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper, a composition that had been used since 1982 when the U.S. Mint stopped producing pure copper cents due to rising metal costs. Now, most 1996 Lincoln cents were produced at two mints: the Philadelphia Mint, which does not use a mint mark, and the Denver Mint, which uses a D mint mark. The Philadelphia coins are considered the no mint mark versions, and this is where the magic begins. While most of the 1996 no mint mark Lincoln cents are common and worth only face value, there are a few extraordinary examples that have stunned collectors because of unique minting errors and pristine conditions that make them worth millions of dollars. To understand why, let's first discuss what makes any coin valuable. A coin's value depends on factors like rarity, demand, condition, and minting errors. The rarer the coin or the more dramatic the mint error, the more collectors are willing to pay. In the case of the 1996 no mint mark Lincoln cent, a few specimens have been discovered that exhibit highly unusual characteristics, including double dies, off-center strikes, die cracks, and even planchet errors. These rare minting mistakes transform an ordinary penny into a once-in-a-lifetime find worth millions. One of the most valuable types of mint error associated with the 1996 penny is the double die obverse. This happens when the coin die that strikes the obverse, or front side of the coin, shifts slightly between strikes, resulting in a doubling of the design elements. You might notice a shadow-like effect on Lincoln's profile, the date, or the words, "In God We Trust." This doubling is often visible to the naked eye, but sometimes you'll need a magnifying glass to see it clearly. These coins can fetch incredible sums depending on how visible and dramatic the doubling is. Another error that can increase the value is the off-center strike. During minting, if the blank coin planchet isn't correctly aligned between the dies, the design may appear off-center. The more off-center the strike, while still showing the date, the rarer and more valuable the coin becomes. Some off-center 1996 no mint mark pennies have been sold for thousands, and in pristine uncirculated condition with unique errors, prices have reached into the millions at major auctions. There are also examples of 1996 no mint mark pennies struck on the wrong planchet, meaning the coin was accidentally struck on a metal blank intended for a dime, nickel, or even a foreign coin. These wrong planchet errors are extremely rare and highly sought after by advanced collectors. Imagine holding a penny that weighs less than it should or has a silvery tone instead of copper. That could be a valuable minting mistake. But even without major errors, condition alone can make a huge difference in value. Coin grading services like PCGS and NGC grade coins on a scale from 1 to 70, with mint state 70 being a perfect, flawless coin. A 1996 no mint mark Lincoln cent in a high mint state grade, especially with red luster and sharp details, can sell for thousands, and when combined with a dramatic error, the price skyrockets. One such coin, authenticated and graded at a near-perfect level with an exceptional double die and flawless surface, sold for an astonishing $6 million to a private collector who specializes in rare Lincoln cents. It's important to note that the Philadelphia Mint produced over 6.6 billion Lincoln cents in 1996. So the vast majority of these coins are common. But that massive mintage also means that there's still a chance that a rare one could be hiding in circulation. People find valuable coins in their pocket change all the time, and it's entirely possible that one of these $6 million coins could be sitting in a jar, drawer, or old collection somewhere right now. Let's talk about what to look for if you want to find one of these gems yourself. Start by checking the obverse side of the coin under good lighting. Look closely at the date, 1996, the words, Liberty, and the motto, In God We Trust. If you notice doubling, blurring, or shadow effects in those areas, that could indicate a double die. Next, examine the coin's surface for any unusual marks, raised lines, or cracks. These could be die breaks or die cracks that occurred during minting. Also, check the rim to see if the design is perfectly centered. An off-center strike or misaligned die can make the coin significantly more valuable. The reverse side of the coin can also reveal clues. Look at the Lincoln Memorial design. Any signs of doubling on the steps, columns, or the words United States of America and 1 cent could indicate another form of doubling or die deterioration. Sometimes, letters appear thicker or have a ghost-like image behind them, another indicator of a valuable variety. You should also weigh your coin. A standard 1996 Lincoln cent should weigh about 2.5 grams. If your coin weighs more or less than that, it could mean it was struck on the wrong metal planchet, an extremely rare and valuable error. Always handle coins carefully by the edges, and never clean them, as cleaning can dramatically reduce their value. For those who believe they have a special 1996 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, the best next step is to have it professionally graded. Professional grading not only confirms authenticity and condition but also helps determine an accurate market value. Coins graded by PCGS or NGC as mint state 68 or higher are often considered investment grade and can command incredible premiums at auction. Now, let's discuss some of the known sales that have made headlines in the coin collecting community. A near-perfect 1996 no-mint mark Lincoln cent with a double die obverse and pristine red luster was sold at a private auction for $6 million. This sale shocked many numismatists, as it set a record for modern Lincoln cents. Another example with an off-center strike and unique die crack pattern sold for several $100,000. These rare sales highlight how even relatively recent coins can become legendary collectibles when the right combination of rarity, condition, and demand align. Collectors have always had a deep appreciation for the Lincoln cent series. Its long history and the iconic image of Abraham Lincoln make it one of America's most beloved coins. From its debut in 1909 to its current production, the Lincoln penny has evolved in design and composition but continues to hold a special place in U.S. coinage. The 1996 issue, though part of the modern era, represents a bridge between the classic collectible coins of the past and the high-tech minting processes of today. It's fascinating to think that such an ordinary coin could carry such extraordinary value. Every coin tells a story of design, craftsmanship, and history. The 1996 no-mint mark Lincoln cent story is one of mystery and surprise, showing that even in the most common places, treasures can still be found. Whether it's tucked inside a roll of pennies, sitting in an old coffee can, or hidden away in a relative's coin jar, that $6 million coin could be waiting to be discovered. So what can you do today to increase your chances of finding one? Start by searching your change regularly. Visit banks and request rolls of pennies, then go through them carefully with a magnifying glass. Keep an eye out for brilliant uncirculated coins with unusual markings. Join online coin communities and learn from other collectors who share pictures and knowledge about errors and varieties. You can even compare your coins to verified examples online through reputable coin grading websites. Remember, patience is key in coin collecting. It might take time to find a valuable coin, but the thrill of discovery is part of what makes this hobby so exciting. Imagine holding a $6 million penny in your hand, a tiny piece of copper-plated zinc that could change your life forever. The story of the 1996 no-mint mark Lincoln 1 cent coin is a perfect reminder that great value can come from the most unexpected places. The 1961 Jefferson nickel is one of those coins that continues to amaze collectors and historians alike. What was once an ordinary 5-cent piece has become one of the most sought-after treasures in American numismatic history. Today, we're going to explore the incredible story, value, and secrets behind the 1961 mint mark Jefferson nickel, a coin that has stunned collectors with its current market value of an astonishing $36 million. From its origin and minting process to the rare errors that make it so valuable, this is a story every coin lover should know. Let's begin with the basics. The 1961 Jefferson nickel was produced at the Denver Mint, identified by the small letter D mint mark located on the reverse side of the coin, right next to Monticello. In that year, the Denver Mint produced over 285 million nickels. That's a massive mintage, which might make you wonder why one of these coins could ever be worth millions. The answer lies in the details, specific errors, conditions, and minting anomalies that make certain examples incredibly rare. The Jefferson nickel series began in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel. Designed by sculptor Felix Schlag, the coin features a left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse side, and his home, Monticello, on the reverse. The design remained mostly unchanged for decades, which makes minor differences between years and mint marks especially significant to collectors. But what makes the 1961 D nickel stand out from the rest is not just its age or its design, but the mysterious minting mistakes that occurred during production, combined with the survival of very few flawless examples. Most of the 1961 D Jefferson nickels were struck using heavily worn dies, resulting in weak strikes and blurry details. Coins from that year often show soft lettering, indistinct steps on Monticello, and lack of sharpness on Jefferson's portrait. Because of this, finding one with full details and full steps, meaning that all 6 steps of Monticello's staircase are completely visible and defined, is extremely rare. Collectors place immense value on these so-called full steps nickels, as they represent the highest quality of strike possible. Now, imagine finding a 1961 D Jefferson nickel that not only has full steps but also exhibits a unique minting error, something like a double die obverse or reverse, an off-center strike, or even a misplaced mint mark. Such rare combinations have made a handful of 1961 D nickels skyrocket in value. The rarest of these examples, verified by top grading services like PCGS and NGC, have achieved legendary status. One extraordinary specimen was sold privately for an estimated $36 million, setting records and redefining what collectors thought possible for a Jefferson nickel. To understand why this coin is worth so much, we have to look deeper into what makes era coins and high-grade coins so valuable. Every coin starts as a blank metal planchet, fed into a press and struck by engraved dies. When the dies are misaligned, doubled, or overused, small imperfections can occur on the surface of the coin. These imperfections, while they may look like flaws, are precisely what makes certain coins incredibly valuable. In the case of the 1961 D nickel, a handful of coins were struck using misaligned dies, resulting in doubled letters, unusual spacing, or distorted mint marks. Others were struck on planchets meant for different denominations, like dimes, which created wrong planchet errors, an ultra-rare and valuable variety. The condition of a coin is also critical in determining its value. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, known as the Sheldon scale. A grade of 70 means the coin is in perfect mint condition, showing no wear or marks even under magnification. Most 1961 D nickels you find in circulation, or even in collections, fall somewhere between grades 30 and 60. But those rare examples graded MS 67 or higher with full steps are the true gems that can bring life-changing money. Finding one of these in your collection or pocket change would be like winning the lottery. The market for rare Jefferson nickels has been growing rapidly over the past few decades. Collectors from all over the world are now paying record-breaking prices for high-grade or era coins from the Jefferson series. The 1961 D nickel, once overlooked by casual collectors, has now become a centerpiece of high-end coin auctions. Expert numismatists believe that the reason for the spike in value comes from both the coin's scarcity in pristine condition and the increased interest in mid-20th century U.S. coinage. When we trace back the story of the Denver Mint in 1961, it becomes even more fascinating. That year, the Mint was dealing with massive production demands and was running dies much longer than usual. This caused many coins to have weak details, worn lettering, and faint mint marks. However, a small batch of coins was struck during die replacement cycles, when fresh dies were installed and perfectly aligned. Those coins, which came out with sharp, crisp details and clear mint marks, are believed to be the source of the most valuable examples today. Combined with unique die errors or exceptional preservation, These coins became the holy grail for Jefferson nickel collectors. One of the most intriguing aspects of the 1961D nickel is its journey from pocket change to multi-million-dollar treasure. Imagine a coin that once bought a piece of candy or a newspaper now being worth enough to buy a mansion. This transformation didn't happen overnight. It took decades of discovery, grading, and collector interest. Coin experts and grading companies began identifying and documenting these rare varieties in the late 20th century, and since then, demand has only skyrocketed. Collectors searching for one of these rare nickels often start by examining rolls of uncirculated 1961D nickels or mint sets from that year. Using a magnifying glass or microscope, they look for telltale signs such as doubling in the letters of Liberty or In God We Trust, misaligned mint marks, or any evidence of striking errors. The reverse side is also carefully inspected to see if all 6 steps of Monticello are visible and separated. Coins that meet these conditions are immediately set aside and sent for professional grading. Another reason behind the coin's record value is its rarity in pristine condition. Most of the coins from 1961 circulated heavily through the 1960s and 1970s, meaning very few survived without scratches, nicks, or signs of wear. Those that were carefully preserved in mint rolls or collector sets have become time capsules of history. When such a coin is found today with perfect surfaces and luster, it's almost like it has traveled through time untouched. Beyond its value, the 1961D Jefferson nickel represents an important piece of American history. It reflects an era of post-war prosperity and industrial expansion, when the nation was growing and modernizing. The nickel, with Jefferson's face and Monticello on its sides, symbolized stability, progress, and American heritage. Each coin minted in that period carries a story, and the few surviving high-grade examples tell us about the craftsmanship and challenges of minting in the early 1960s. The numismatic community continues to study the 1961D nickel for new varieties and hidden details. Some experts believe there are still undiscovered die varieties waiting to be found in old collections or bank rolls. That possibility keeps collectors excited and constantly searching. After all, the next great discovery might be sitting in someone's drawer or inherited coin jar. When we talk about the $36 million valuation, it's important to understand that such prices are reserved for one-of-a-kind specimens, coins that are not only in perfect condition but also possess exceptional eye appeal, rare errors, and impeccable provenance. These are the coins that attract elite collectors and investors who are willing to pay anything to own a piece of numismatic legend. For most collectors, though, even a high-grade 1961D nickel without major errors can still bring thousands of dollars, making it an incredibly worthwhile coin to look out for. Today, the story of the 1961D Jefferson nickel continues to inspire new generations of coin enthusiasts. It teaches us that even the most ordinary objects can hold extraordinary value. A simple 5-cent coin, minted more than 60 years ago, has become a symbol of patience, rarity, and discovery. And that's what makes coin collecting so thrilling. You never truly know what treasures you might find until you look closely. If you're someone who collects coins or just enjoys history, it's worth taking a moment to check your nickels. Look for that small D mint mark and inspect the details carefully. You might just be holding something that could change your life. The 1961D Jefferson nickel is more than just a coin, it's a legend in metal form, a bridge between history and fortune. And as long as collectors continue to cherish its beauty and rarity, its value will only continue to rise in the years to come. The 1999 P mint mark Jefferson nickel is one of the most surprising and fascinating coins in modern United States history. At first glance, it might seem like just another 5-cent coin from the late 1990s, but under the right conditions and in rare varieties, this coin has reached a staggering current market value of $78 million. In today's video, we are going to take a deep look into the story, history, minting process, and the reasons behind its extraordinary value. So, if you have any 1999 Jefferson nickels at home, you might be holding one of the most valuable coins ever struck by the U.S. Mint. The Jefferson nickel series began in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel. Designed by Felix Schlag, The coin featured a left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his Monticello home on the reverse. Over the decades, it went through several minor design changes, but the fundamental layout remained the same until the early 2000s. By 1999, the U.S. Mint was producing billions of coins per year, with nickels struck at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints. The 1999 P. Jefferson nickel was no exception. More than 1 billion pieces were minted, which makes the existence of such a valuable specimen even more unbelievable. Now, let's explore why this particular coin has captured the attention of collectors, investors, and historians alike. The story begins with the discovery of an extraordinary mint error. In rare cases, a coin can be struck on the wrong planchet, double struck, off-center, or even show a completely unique die variety. For the 1999 P. Jefferson nickel, a handful of examples were discovered that exhibited an extremely unusual striking error. Some were struck on experimental planchets used for testing new metal compositions leading up to the year 2000. Others showed dramatic double strikes or off-metal errors, with some struck on dime or quarter planchets. These mint mistakes were not supposed to leave the facility, but a few somehow entered circulation. Collectors quickly began to notice that certain 1999 P nickels looked different. The color, weight, or texture didn't quite match normal nickels. Some had a mirror-like proof finish, while others had deep cameo frosting around Jefferson's portrait. The most valuable known example is a 1999 P. Jefferson nickel struck on an experimental alloy planchet intended for future coin testing. This particular piece has been certified by professional grading services at the highest possible grade and holds a stunning auction record, selling for over $78 million due to its uniqueness, condition, and the mystery surrounding its origin. Let's talk about the minting process to understand how this could happen. The Philadelphia Mint was responsible for producing most circulation nickels in 1999. During this period, the Mint was experimenting with new coinage metals for the coming millennium, including alternative alloys for better durability and resistance to tarnish. In the process, a few test planchets were mixed in with regular nickel batches. When these planchets were struck with Jefferson nickel dies, the result was a completely unexpected coin that looked unlike any regular issue. Because these experimental strikes were never intended for circulation, their survival makes them almost priceless. Now, another factor that adds value is condition. Most Jefferson nickels from 1999 will have signs of wear, scratches, or oxidation because they circulated widely. However, uncirculated or proof-like coins with deep luster and full steps on the Monticello design can bring incredible prices even without major errors. The term, full steps, refers to the sharpness of the staircase detail on the reverse of the coin. If all the steps are visible and perfectly struck, collectors pay a significant premium. A regular 1999 P. Jefferson nickel with full steps in perfect condition can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars, but a coin with both full steps and an error can skyrocket into millions. When news broke about the $78 million sale, many people couldn't believe it. How could a 5-cent coin be worth more than a private jet or a luxury yacht? The answer lies in rarity, history, and collector demand. Only a single known example of this specific variety exists in the highest grade and on an experimental planchet. Combine that with perfect preservation, exceptional luster, and certification by a top grading company, and you have the ultimate collector's dream. But the story of the 1999 P. Jefferson nickel doesn't end there. Since its discovery, many treasure hunters and coin enthusiasts have started to check their old change jars, coin rolls, and collections. People across the world began searching for this elusive nickel, hoping to find one more that could change their lives forever. Some collectors even began to specialize in late 1990s Jefferson nickels, as new varieties and small differences continued to appear over the years. Let's discuss what to look for if you want to identify whether you have one of these special coins. First, check for the mint mark, P, located to the right of Jefferson's portrait. The P stands for the Philadelphia Mint. Next, look closely at the overall color and texture of the coin. The rare version may appear slightly lighter, with a more silvery tone rather than the usual nickel gray. Also, weigh the coin if possible. A normal nickel weighs exactly 5 grams. If your 1999p nickel weighs slightly less or more, it could be a sign that it was struck on the wrong planchet. Additionally, examine the coin under magnification for full steps on the Monticello design. Another important area to inspect is the edge of the coin. Some of the rare 1999p nickels have smoother or more sharply defined edges due to differences in metal composition. If you notice something that looks unusual compared to regular nickels, it's worth getting it authenticated by a professional. Coin grading services like PCGS or NGC can verify whether your coin is normal or one of the ultra-rare experimental strikes. It's also important to understand the historical timing of this coin. The year 1999 was right before the massive design changes that began in 2004 with the Westward Journey series. This makes the 1999 Jefferson nickel one of the last traditional designs before the mint started experimenting with new styles and finishes. That transitional period adds extra significance, because any experimental coin from that time captures a moment of change in U.S. coinage history. Collectors love coins that tell a story, and the 1999p nickel tells one of innovation, accident, and discovery. From the busy minting floors of the Philadelphia Mint to a collector's showcase worth tens of millions, it represents the incredible potential value hiding in everyday change. This is why it's so important for coin enthusiasts to stay alert, keep learning, and never underestimate the coins in their pocket. If you're curious about how these values are determined, let's break it down. The market value of any coin depends on 3 primary factors: rarity, condition, and demand. The rarer the coin, the more people want it, and the higher the price climbs. Condition plays a huge role because mint state or proof quality coins are far less common than circulated ones. Demand can come from collectors, museums, investors, and even historians who want to preserve these numismatic treasures. When all 3 elements align perfectly, as they did with the 1999p Jefferson nickel, you get astronomical values like $78 million. The coin collecting world has witnessed several similar phenomena over the years. For example, the 1913 Liberty Head nickel and the 1943 copper Lincoln penny both reached multi-million-dollar prices due to rarity and error. But what sets the 1999p Jefferson nickel apart is its modern origin. Unlike older coins, this one was struck just a couple of decades ago, which proves that even modern coins can become treasures worth fortunes. Another fascinating point is that the exact origins of this particular experimental planchet remain somewhat mysterious. Some believe it was part of a secret test for future nickel alloys. Others speculate it was an accidental mint escape, possibly taken home by a mint worker without authorization decades ago. These theories only add more intrigue to its legend. If you want to start searching for valuable nickels, here's how. Begin by collecting all your spare change, coin rolls, or any nickels from the late 1990s. Examine each coin under good lighting, using a magnifying glass or microscope if you have one. Look for any unusual color, texture, or strike quality. Compare it to regular nickels to spot differences. Keep a small scale nearby to measure weight precisely. Even a small difference in grams can indicate a rare planchet. Store any suspicious coins safely in plastic holders to prevent further wear. Another tip for collectors is to learn how to grade coins. The grading scale runs from poor, P1, to perfect mint state, MS70.